Good evening and welcome to City Focus. And I'm Marty Olsen, your host. And tonight I'm delighted to welcome a young man who I'm going to call him what he is, Coach Parker.
Thanks for having me on.
It's a real pleasure to have you back on the program. We had you on a number of years ago when you were, I believe you were still at Northeastern at the time.
I was.
And I just thought you brought such a positive message for young people that with what you were doing in school up in Boston, and that you would make a terrific program, and you did. And I just think that bringing you back now in your new capacity as a head basketball coach at Fitch High School with the girls, that we could have a nice conversation.
Yeah.
So welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I had your dad in here a few weeks ago, and Coach Parker, Coach Chop, and of course, as you know, I mean, he and I go back to grammar school, and high school, and your mom's a coach, so it's in the family.
Yeah, Kaylee coaches too, my younger sister.
Really?
Yeah.
What is she coaching?
She's the head volleyball coach at Benny Dover, and has also been my mom's assistant as a volleyball coach at New London.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
I was going to ask whether your sisters had finished school yet.
Yeah, Marissa has still been taking classes, but Kaylee, yeah, she's been coaching. She also works with me at Hearing Youth Voices, so she's been doing well. She was also the assistant softball coach at New London High School this year too.
Well, I'll tell you, that's fabulous.
Yeah.
That's terrific. Now, but you've been involved with being on the bench and around basketball and coaching, I would say, almost your entire life. I mean, your dad had a 30-year run at New London High School, and I'm not sure if you've hit 30 yet, but
no. Closing in.
We're closing in, but so in essence, you've been on that bench for basically your entire life.
Yeah, no, I have. I started formally sitting on his bench around the time I was 8 years old, and that's an irreplaceable experience just to see the ins and outs of the program for years before I even started playing there. Yeah.
So I mean, I think that. And at what point did you decide that you wanted to be a coach? I mean, not everybody wants to follow in their father's or mother's footsteps, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I mean, really, when I realized there's not going to be a professional career for me playing, I was like, I want to stay a part of the game. And I knew I learned a lot from both my parents. My mom coached me in Little League, All-Stars, all of that, and both of them set a fabulous example. So it just felt like the right thing to do, and it kind of tied together a lot of my different passions. Yeah.
Well, I've got to tell you, I mean, the role of a coach, especially I think at the high school level, I mean, it's really important. I mean, these youngsters are teenagers, and they can deviate and go into different paths, and some of them aren't necessarily the best. And the role of a coach can help keep them on a positive role.
100%. My dad was such a disciplinarian, and he required focus and sacrifice and so many things from his players. And his former players will talk about how he wasn't just a basketball coach to them. Like he definitely helped to form them into the men that they became. Like Kareem Brown will talk extensively about that, for example. And I recognized that it was like how you can forge that path to stay on a positive track.
Yeah. And not all of your players are going to play at the next level. And certainly not all are going to be playing in the NBA or WNBA. I mean, with all the terrific players that have come out of New London, and we have Chris Dunn playing in the NBA, and Tyson, I guess, had a look-see, but that's not a lot.
Right.
So to think you're going to get a career playing at that level, you kind of play. I guess it's maybe a little bit more than just for fun, but for fun.
For sure. You want it to be a positive experience. And as a coach, that's something I try to balance. I recognize some players want to try to make it to the next level, and I'll do anything I can to support them in that. And other players want an extracurricular, want to be a part of a team. So it's important to balance that and treat it like a high school program. like you said, they're having fun at the end of the day.
Now, when you were at Northeastern, they're playing at a pretty high level of men's basketball. You did not pursue basketball at Northeastern, did you, to play?
No, I didn't. I was given a scholarship. It was more like a leadership type scholarship through the African American Institute at Northeastern. And so that's what made me choose to really focus on my academics. There was a time I had a dream of walking on, but I knew I'm not a Division I athlete, for example. Like, I know that. I was a decent player, but, I wouldn't have been able to play for them. And I never actually took the time to pursue that. I did get a lot better while I was in college. We had a club team, and with the club team, we would go play against Harvard or Boston College. Obviously not their D1 team, but their club team. So that was a cool, supplement.
Sure.
Yeah.
You got a chance to play and good competition at the level you can compete at.
Absolutely. It was competitive, and there was a lot of people in a similar boat that probably had pretty decent high school careers, and just wanted to keep playing.
Yeah, but you had as I recall, a sports connection. I think, was it broadcasting or something that you were doing that had you tied in with what was going on with the school and the athletics?
I did. I dabbled with the college's sports radio network. One of my friends that I play just pickup with at the gym in Northeastern, he kind of got me involved. I don't think I was made for that. My dad listened into a show, and there's 7 people on it, and I didn't say a word. So he called me and was like, I turned it off, and I didn't blame him because I didn't know what to contribute. I recognized the amount of research they were doing. I kind of just came on okay, I know basketball, but they knew everything that was happening during Northeastern season. So the conversation just wasn't for me. But it was a cool experience.
Well, listen, you try something, you don't know. But one thing I think it's important to address too is, because I spent time at Northeastern. One thing you did is you finished up there. I didn't. I had about 2.5 years and took a long sabbatical before going back to school. But is that Boston's a pretty dynamic place to be when you're a young person. There's a lot going on up there.
Is.
And that you finished school, and I know you had opportunities for further education in that area, but you've come home.
Yep.
And you're settling in, and it seems like this is what you want to do.
Yeah, 100%. After I graduated, I loved Boston. It's a great city to live in, definitely to go to school. It's probably one of the best cities to go to school in. And I started my career working in a high school in Boston right after I graduated from college. Then COVID happened, and I came home, and I really found my purpose here, and I'm happy to be back and contributing to my community the way that I have been. I do miss Boston sometimes. Like you said, it's a dynamic city, and there's just so many different things you can do, opportunities. But New London's such a unique place that, you can't, it just was a calling, it feels like.
So now after you've come back, kind of give us a timeline of, did you start helping Dad out, or did you, we were talking before we came on the air, you've worked over at Avery Point, and before this opportunity arose to work over at Fitch.
Yeah, so while I was in school, college holidays, you have such a kind of an extended time. Yeah, so I would help my dad out while I was in college. Then I became a middle school head coach my senior year of college, and then was a volunteer assistant coach at the high school I was working at, we won the state title right before COVID shut everything down. And I loved it up there. I was under a great coach who used to coach and play at the Division I level. And I was able to add what I learned from my dad and him. When I came home, I didn't coach that first year. So this is like the 2021 season. But then I joined Coach Millsap's with the girls at New London High School. And we had a really nice team. We had Nalise Dudley as a junior, who's now playing at Sacred Heart. Serenity Lancaster was a freshman. She has over 24 Division I offers right now. And we made the state quarterfinals, and I also learned a lot from Coach Millsap's. Started coaching AAU with her, and we had a middle school AAU program for 3 years, leading up to this year, actually. And then I joined Avery Point for 2 seasons with the men's team. under head coach Phil Tate. And so I've been able to learn from a lot of great coaches, and it kind of led me to where I was this past season, put me in a really nice position, had a decent resume, and was able to get the Fitch head coaching job.
What's the challenge or difference between coaching young ladies and young men?
Yeah, they're both such unique experiences. The thing about coaching girls would essentially they're far more coachable. It feels like there's less, maybe the word, I'm not sure if the word is pride, but there's definitely less selfishness. It's more of like they're gonna do what the team needs them to do. Like if you tell a girl to do something, she's gonna execute that pretty well. Whereas boys drift off the game plan a little bit, kind of get caught up in the moment, and sometimes are a little unrealistic about what they should be doing on the court. Whereas girls, a lot of them that I've coached, it's helping them realize you're actually a good player and you need to be more aggressive. Like I'd rather see you drive to the basket when you touch it than just catch it and try to look for a quick pass or things like that. But it's fun. I mean, both of them are fun. I enjoy coaching both boys and girls, but it's certainly different. The whole team dynamic is different.
Well, there are some coaches who have done exceptionally well coaching with girls and women, and we look up the stores, and Gino Ariama has kind of made a living up there.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think it's anything for anybody to look at the second class. So you're working with young people who have a desire to participate and do well.
That's right.
And improve.
Yeah, 100%. And I was happy. I had season tickets to the games at the XL Center this year for the UConn women. And I mean, the way they play basketball, it's like the blueprint to success, both defensively and offensively. And you can just see just how everything is just so, I don't know, they just flow so well. And it's like they have so many read and react options that for a player, that's hard to execute. But their IQ is so high and their discipline is ridiculous. So it's like that's what you aspire to be.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that Coach Oriyama, I mean, the players he recruits are going to accept to do that. I mean, if they think that they're bigger than the team, they won't play there.
Absolutely. They probably do the best job at getting the character players that they want. Whether it's the top player in the country or not, they get people that buy in, and at the end of the day, that's far more important, especially at that level where everyone needs to be on the same page. Because the talent level is, especially in girls basketball, we've watched it balloon over the past 10, 15 years.
Yeah, the quality of play has improved exponentially.
Absolutely. And there's nowadays, any given year, you probably have, these last few years, 10 to 12 teams that were legitimate, viable national champion candidates. And I think that just shows the growth in the game.
Which is healthy.
Oh, 100%.
Yep.
Yeah, we see it in the WNBA now. Like players like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese is having a fabulous season right now. And then right after they come in, Paige Beckers is in the league now and probably a top 10 player already as a rookie. Like it's amazing. And the girls coming up, the FIBA U19, actually no, it's the FIBA National AmeriCup tournament. The United States sent a bunch of college girls to participate, and they won it. So the future is bright.
Yeah. You know, New London is fortunate to have three colleges in it. We've got Connecticut College, Mitchell College, and the Coast Guard Academy. And speaking of quality of play, I mean, I think the quality of play at that level has improved dramatically, and I wish more locals would take advantage of it and go and watch these men and women play, because it's some pretty good stuff.
There's hidden gems. My dad and I forget who else, we went to a doubleheader this year as Eastern versus Conn College women and then men. And I mean, a lot of people don't understand or realize how high level, like you're saying, Division III basketball is. And especially Conn College. I mean, you're liable to go see a 7-footer out there when you watch them play. And it's free. I go to the hockey games, basketball games, all of that. It's great to watch.
Yeah, I remember being up at a Northeastern hockey game a number of years ago. I ran into you.
Yeah.
At Matthews and Readers.
Yeah.
See,
I know, out of all the people there, I was kicking myself because I didn't realize how fun hockey was to watch until I started going to games my senior year. I was like, I could have been watching these for the past 3 years for free. Like, the men's and women's, it was just amazing. I was like, man, I was learning the fundamentals of the game. I was like, this is good stuff.
The Northeastern women, they've got a national presence.
Yeah, and that's what I realized. I had no idea I was sharing a campus with people that were even going to the NHL draft. Like, I was like, damn, there might be a pro athlete in my class. And it just never dawned on me until I started going to those games.
Yeah. Did you ever get to a beanpot?
Sadly, no. Those are tough to get to. I can only imagine the atmosphere. I have friends go, and that's something hopefully I can make it to further down the line.
Even as an alum, it's worthwhile. Do it once. Make it a bucket list, and I think you'll enjoy it.
Oh, I know I will. That atmosphere has to be insane.
Yep. I understand that they're building a new rink up at Northeastern. They're going to take Matthews down.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
And they got a giant new scoreboard in there. I mean, which is almost too big for the building. It's just. But in any event, that's I'm going on a tangent here with local high school basketball. Now, before we came on the air, I just inquired, a little bit about your initial season, and you seemed quite pleased with your kickoff season. You went 500. You performed well in the ECC and in the state as well.
Yeah, I loved it. I had such a great group of girls. We had 2 seniors who were both integral parts of the team and really set the tone for everyone else. And then we had 4 sophomores who, they were studs. They were really able to get us going. And one of the players, her name's Sanaa Waters, she's a dynamic player and makes her teammates better. And I'm excited to see how we do this year, coming off of last year, kind of establishing a culture. We were really defensive oriented. We only averaged probably 45 points a game, but we held teams consistently to 40 or less points, and that was really our recipe for success. But we were a young team, and so with that, we played a super tough schedule. We probably overachieved a little bit considering our schedule, and even had an opportunity to almost beat the number 3 team in the state. It really came down to the last possession against Sacred Heart Academy, who I'm trying to think I don't know if they won it or not this year, but they're a quality team.
Well, that must be pretty good. That builds confidence in your players.
Yeah, no doubt. And you could see the growth. We would work on basketball. It's a simple recipe. You work on the same things over and over and over again, and you just get better at them, right? And we worked on a lot of different fundamentals. And the best thing is seeing your players who might not have been able to do that when the season started, going out there and performing something we just did in practice the day prior, or starting to understand the concepts that we're implementing on offense or defense, and seeing them actually work in the game. Like I said, we were a tough defensive team, and that took a lot of discipline and a lot of communication, but they did that at a high level.
Well, that's terrific. Now, the team that you inherited, was it, you say you had a younger team, so if they had graduated players, were they, you really didn't have a lot to pick from them. I mean, is there a strong youth program in Groton? I mean, that you're developing players to come into the program?
It's growing. Fitch basketball was pretty much revitalized under the last coach, Coach Felicia Porter. They had 2 pretty solid seasons, around 500, made it to the ECC semifinals just like we did last year, made it to the second round of states just like we did last year. But the year before I got there, I inherited a team that graduated 4 players who were basically all had the opportunity to play college basketball at some level, Division III or JUCO. And so I knew the sophomores I was going to get because I coached a couple of them in AAU. Actually, 3 out of the 4 I had coached in AAU before. So I knew we'd have a chance to probably be pretty decent, just a lot of learning curves. And I was excited to coach them. But yeah, I wasn't sure how it was going to go. Before the season, I kept saying to my dad, I'm like, I just hope we win enough games to make states because we have a tough schedule. And any given night, it was hard to say who would come out on top.
Now, Are you active in developing the schedule, or is that something that's handed to you by the athletic director?
So now I'm active in developing the schedule, and we have another pretty tough schedule to look forward to this upcoming season. Last year, due to when I was offered the position, the schedule was already created, so I inherited a tough schedule. Some of it were like the second game of a series from the year prior when they had the seniors.
Like home and home type deal?
Correct, yeah. So that's why we played, for example, last year we played Windsor High School, who started out in the top 10 of the state poll in the preseason. We played Hamden, who was coming off back-to-back state titles, Sacred Heart Academy, who's just a powerhouse in Hamden, and some other good programs. We had played E.O. Smith, who won a state title the year prior. And then the ECC is a gauntlet, Division I and Division II. Teams like Bacon Academy and New London, Ledger, every given night. It's a tough. NFA is a powerhouse in Connecticut. They had 3 girls over 6 feet tall last year. So we had some tough games. But I really enjoy forming a schedule.
Yeah, I gather NFA's got a coach that came from within over there. I mean, because Scarletta had a long run over with NFA, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. Oh, yeah. And I think he was sitting on the bench for some games this year. But no, it was Coach Courtney Gomez, who I think she played college basketball. She may have even been all-state at NFA, but I know she played there for sure. So, yeah, they just have a good program. They're deep. They're super deep.
Well, one thing that has been occurring at the collegiate level, and I think it's sifting down to high school, is player movement. You know, and you're at an age where perhaps it may have been percolating when you were in school. I mean, when your dad and I were in school, you know, you're in New London and you played for New London. There was no, well, I don't like the coach. I think I'm going to go over here, or I'm going to go prep, or you stayed home and you played for your hometown team. Where now there's AAU, there's travel teams, there's a variety of variables that didn't exist 40 or 50 years ago that you've got to contend with. Yeah,
absolutely. It's a different game. Being a high school coach right now is tough because the turnover, it's inevitable almost anywhere at this point. When I was in high school, it was only a couple schools where that movement was really relevant. But nowadays, it's just the nature of the beast. And if you have a kid that has a good year, you probably won't get him next year because they'll go to a prep school for what they might consider a better opportunity.
Yeah, that's what happened with the Lancaster girl in London.
No doubt. And, she was on pace to be New London's all-time leading scorer and collect who knows how many accolades. But she didn't necessarily make a bad decision. She loves it where she is and is playing good basketball. She's still improving her game. And I'm excited to see where she ends up. I want to catch some of her games in college.
Now, she'll be a junior or senior this coming year?
She'll be a senior this coming year. And I don't know if she was the NEPSAC Defensive Player of the Year, but she was definitely, at the very least, on their all-defensive team. So she had a nice season up there for sure.
Well, it's funny, you've outlined the ECC as a pretty strong league, and that's interesting. I got to make a point of seeing. I didn't see your team play last year, but I like to watch any of the New London folks who have expanded whether they're playing someplace or they're coaching. I mean, we've got Mike Morgan is over at Ledger. He's got the girls, right?
He has the girls.
And DJ Exon, is he the boys coach?
He's the boys coach, yeah.
So you got 2 New London guys running the show over there at Ledger.
Yeah.
Mike Morgan I had on the program a number of years ago.
Oh, all right, that's awesome. Yeah, Mike's a great coach. My first career game coaching was actually against his Ledger girls. We had it was a solid game. They built a lead against us. We worked our way back. We ended up losing. I can't remember the score, but it was a competitive game. And then we had our rematch in the quarterfinals of the ECC tournament, and another super competitive game. His teams always play defense. And I think we were able to pull that out by maybe 4 points or so to advance to the semis. But we always know that's going to be a tough game. They're a deep team. Everyone he puts on the court can go run and play defense. And, he has a player coming back who's going to be a senior who's a really nice player. So they'll be exciting to watch.
Be
this
another
year.
tough one, huh?
Certainly.
Well, that's good. You don't want to go in there where you know you're going to wipe everybody out. You don't learn anything.
Yeah, exactly. We literally every game we had was a battle. We had one lopsided game against Windsor. Our best player got hurt to start the second quarter, and we were missing one of our starters already. And they kind of pressed us at the end, and were able to pull the lead out in the fourth quarter. Just about win or loss, almost every other game we played. We had a couple big wins, but almost every other game we played was decided within like 5 to 7 points. So you just learn how to execute and face adversity in a schedule like that.
Yeah. How many assistant coaches do you have?
So I had my assistants were Coach Eric Jamali, who his daughter is going to be a sophomore this year. She's a pretty good shooter. And then my sister Kaylee, I was just talking about how she coaches, and I neglected to mention she was one of my assistants this year.
Well, you don't want to do that. Forget your sister that.
So I had
They're watching now.
I had Coach Jamali. Yeah, Kaylee's resume, she does a lot of coaching. I had Kaylee, and then for part of the season, Coach Tori, who's going to be, she was still in school. She played softball, so she was with us during her winter break, and she knows the game very well. She's going to go be Coach Solar's assistant at Stonington this year,
okay.
and she'll help them out for sure.
And from what I understand, Coach Solar's over at Stonington is kind of the dean of some of the women's high school in the region right now.
Yeah,
Been there a long time and achieved quite a bit of success.
No doubt. I think she has 2 players that played at UConn, so you can't beat that.
Yeah, the Buck girl.
Yeah, and I think one of her teammates went up and played with her right around that time. And I think she has at least 2 state titles, was a National Coach of the Year candidate with my dad, actually. Coach Solar's been doing a nice job for a long time.
That's fascinating. Good stuff. When it comes to, I'm just curious, with scheduling, do they always keep the boys and the girls separate, or because you got a JV program, or do you have a JV program?
So the funny thing, we started the season with exactly 10 girls, and we were like, some of these girls need JV reps. We had 3 freshmen who, they need to learn the game and whatnot. And we were able, over the span of the first week of practice, to recruit about 5 more girls, and we're able to put together a JV team. This year coming in, we have like 8 or 9 incoming freshmen, if my count is right. And so we'll have a stronger JV team this year. But yeah, the schedules keep the boys and girls separate. Even games, nowadays the ECC only gives you 12 games. So we pick up 7 to 8 non-conference games. So even our boys and girls game schedules look very different, rather than just playing the same school home or away that same night.
Yeah, because the ACC is a pretty large geographic as well as a number of schools. It's I don't know if you play some of the same schools just due to size, I guess, or they rotate things. I mean, it's just, I don't know, I find it rather convoluted from the outside looking in, but...
Yeah, the formula, I think, especially in basketball, for how like they create the schedules and who's in what division, it sort of varies any given year. Like this year in the girls' side, we're gonna have a couple teams moving up from Division III to Division II, and some teams from Division I and II dropping down to Division III, because they try to create a competitive balance. And sometimes your school size doesn't always indicate how successful you might be against certain teams. So some teams, like New London, for example, is in Division I, so Fitch boys and girls will play them twice. But for example,
and that's a small school in terms of the amount of students.
Absolutely, and but like on the other hand, we'll play Woodstock twice, because Woodstock on the girls' side is in Division I, whereas on the boys' side they're not. So Fitch might not even play them any given year. So it looks a little different year by year, but they're trying to keep up with. Giving kids a chance to compete and not have so many lopsided games. And this year it seems like the formula will probably work out pretty well.
Now, do you work at the school?
No, I don't actually. I'm only the basketball coach.
Are any of your assistants working in the school?
Actually, no, funny enough. I think that's probably pretty rare in high school.
I'm just curious. I mean, years ago, it was required. I mean, it was an exception where they absolutely couldn't find a coach in the school. But as time has evolved, it appears that there's more and more, or less and less teachers in-house that are stepping up to do this type of stuff, and it's taking folks from the outside, such as yourself. Where I'm going with this is keeping a pulse on your team in the school, and seeing that the kids are managing themselves well, that they're handling their academics, and that they're staying. We started off the program with on a positive path. You don't want the kids failing and having to be taken off the team for academic problems. Or do you have tutoring? What do you have to keep these kids kind of focused on what's actually most important, which is school?
Yeah, no, for sure. Fitch does a nice job. I'm very in tune with my athletic director. We talk all the time. We're always in communication about, and thankfully we have a high quality group of girls, and we didn't really have too many academic problems or social problems or things of that nature on our team this past year. But we do also offer what they call Falcon Academy, which is like if students might be struggling in a class or two, you can go there and receive some tutoring and just some extra time to focus on whatever needs to get done. Because like you said, that's the highest priority. And we have a lot of girls who are aspiring to try to get accepted into prestigious schools. And I mean, they work hard. They're going to have a chance.
Yeah. And although after 1 year, this may not be a fair question, but I'll ask it anyway. And that is, do you feel as the head coach that you have a responsibility or a role as a student is going through high school and has a desire to play at the next level, whatever that may be, trying to assist them finding their slot?
Yeah.
And whether it's at Mitchell or whether it's at UConn. Actually, you had one girl who played at Mitchell, Rita Williams, years ago. She played at Mitchell and went to UConn and played.
Wow.
And then the WNBA.
Wow, there we go. But
again, one.
I know, it's so rare. But no, certainly, I pride myself. So outside of coaching, I train players. And, I can't necessarily train my Fitch girls one-on-one, but I have a network of people who I trust who could, if they're interested in doing that and want to continue to expand their game, I can connect my Fitch girls with some of these people, whether that's Kareem Brown or Alan Cheney, or even one of the Avery Point women's assistants now, Coach JJ. He does some training and does really nice work. So if players are interested and they have that hunger or that desire, then I do whatever I can. I create, all the games nowadays are recorded, so I create highlight tapes and send them out to college coaches and say, we have this girl, this is what she can do, what do you think? And we had a senior this past season who before the season didn't have a goal of playing in college. She was one of our seniors, but then as time went on, I was telling her, I'm like, you can play somewhere. And she was like, okay, I consider it. And she decided to just focus on school at the end of the day, but she ended up having 5 schools, a mix of junior colleges and Division III schools that were interested in her. So I just try to advocate, I push them. And I love watching college basketball, so I can see kind of what translates to the next level. And I played with people who played at that level. I've coached with people who coached at that level. So to an extent, I understand what it takes and what coaches are looking for, and will try to gear them towards that. It's not all about, are you scoring 25 points? Coaches don't care about that. They want to see, are you making the right play efficiently? And
well, you're working hard, you're hustling. Some of the it doesn't show up in the scorebook.
Right. It's a lot simpler than people realize, and priorities kind of get, when you hear from so many people about different things, kids can get confused. Like, well, what do I need to do? Do I need to go score 30, or do I just need to work hard and communicate? Like, what's the balance? But we emphasize communication a lot. When I was at Avery Point, I remember watching Hill House play against Worcester North. Worcester North was stacked. They won back-to-back state championships in Massachusetts. And they had really nice players, but there was one kid in particular who wasn't doing most of the scoring, but he was the loudest kid on the court all the time. And those are the types of things that you can't replace. And one of our seniors last year was like that. She's going to go play field hockey at Eastern, and she's going to be a treasure for them because her communication and work ethic are just outstanding. So coaches are looking for those things too.
Well, I think that's important. It's more than just sitting on the bench on game day, that's for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. No, there's a lot that goes into it. And I do research, try to come up with schemes that will put my players in the best position to succeed and just go from there. I mean, that holistically is just making sure, like, are they good to go, and whatever that means for each player.
Yeah. Well, I hope that for the good of your program, that in the community of Groton, that they'll have youth programs that help create a feeder system and interest in the game for the young girls as they're moving through, and that you'll get more kids going out for the team. I don't know if you're scouring the school, looking for players or not, but God, I mean, London won a title with only 6, 7 kids with Coach Millsap there. That was
incredible.
And she's a tough nut there. She doesn't take any BS, I'll tell you.
No, she's gonna get the most out of her players, that's for sure. But no, the Groton Middle School, actually, their girls team just won they do a local championship now, like most of the schools in Southeastern Connecticut, and they played Benny Dover for the championship, and it was a really competitive game, ended up winning by 10, so there were 5 8th graders on that team who are slated to play at Fitch next year. And then there's some 7th graders and 6th graders on that team with some potential. And there's some Groton youth basketball stuff going on. And a lot of the girls, like you mentioned earlier, AAU is almost a hyper focus nowadays. And a lot of girls are playing AAU. So there could be definitely some good teams on the horizon, assuming the girls play together. And like you said, you never know where kids are going to go to high school nowadays or leave to prep school. But if these groups stay together, they have a chance. They have a chance to be some decent teams.
Yeah. Well, it's. I mean, I'm a fan. I've been watching primarily New London for a long, long time. I enjoy watching the boys basketball, the girls football, and how things have changed. Where at the high school level, I mean, all the coaches in all the schools are attempting to teach, I think, teamwork and things of this nature, and put the whole ahead of the individual. Where at the AAU level, I get the impression that often it's me first, and to showcase me as opposed to showcase us. I don't know if that's a fair assessment or not, but it's just an observation.
Yeah, AAU, to be honest, is a little bit oversaturated right now. There's too many teams, and I don't think. It just depends where you are. Some programs operate with a lot of integrity, and some programs you just never know. Some programs, these kids don't even practice together. They just go play in a tournament, and that's where you might see a little bit more of that. I need to showcase what I can do. I'm coaching a 10th grade AAU team right now, though, and they're a nice team. We have a lot of talent on that team, and they do such a nice job of working together and making the right plays. So there's some hope out there in AAU. It's not all this negative culture that's kind of started to cloud AAU around the country. But we have a great group of parents on that team who are bought in and understand what it takes to really be a good team.
Well, that's important. I mean, if you can get that kind of cohesion. Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to assess, as you're moving into year 2, are there any major rule changes that are coming up that may impact the game or at any level, whether it's in terms of on court or off court for that matter?
Yeah, an interesting rule that's just started last summer. High school coaches prior to this rule technically were not allowed to work with their teams with a basketball at all in the off season. And now over the summer we can practice twice a week.
I'll ask you about this. This is good. Thank you.
Yeah, and so we can play summer league, and as long as, and then you can practice twice a week for like 2 hours. So you can see possibly teams starting day one with a little more cohesion and more on the same page if schools are taking advantage of that, and maybe achieve mid-season form a little bit earlier, so to say. So that'll be an interesting rule. I do know around the country, some states are really cracking down on transfers because it's kind of gotten out of hand, and some kids are going to 3-4 high schools.
Well, that's where I was kind of going here with player movement earlier in the program. I mean, it seems to be a growing concern.
For sure. And it's just, I think when you have a basis in like history, like teams that have won, programs that have won, like you look at the New London boys, like you said, when New London boys were going to New London High School, they were competing. You probably had a chance to play for a state title in one of the 4 years you were there because all the talent was together. Since it's dispersed, it's rare to see New London get past the second round nowadays. These past 3 or 4 seasons have been a little bit more of an upturn, but it's just the evidence is there. When you stay together, you work hard together for 4 years, you build that chemistry, you give yourself a chance to compete. And if you're looking to go to college too, college coaches also want winners. They're not necessarily looking for someone that can score the ball but isn't impacting winning. Like if you show that you can do your part on a winning team, that can be probably more important than just finding the place where you can do what you want to do the most. So Connecticut has some rules around it. Some people figure out ways around these rules sometimes, but it'll be interesting to see the developments as time goes on, especially with kids reclassifying and like repeating 8th grade. Most of the best boys players in the area did that.
I guess that's called redshirting.
Yeah, we have a high school redshirt system going on.
That used to be just kind of a football term years ago for coming in and sit out your freshman year.
Right. Yeah, so I don't know. It'll be interesting. I'm trying to. I'm not sure if this is actually official yet, but the boys went from like Class M, Class S, Class L, et cetera, to the Division 1 through 5 format, where it's not as much based in school size, and the girls' side in Connecticut also might be shifting to that. So that could be a interesting development in terms of the state tournament.
Yeah. Mike DeMauro, he gets this on a high horse on a variety of things, but one area in regards to high school athletics, since we're discussing basketball, is with the tournament and with the tech schools and some of the schools that like Northwest Catholic or some of the ones that are able to get students from not just 2 or 3 towns, but kind of like, a region, 15, 20 towns. And, you may get kids that getting into kind of this recruiting discussion that, and how to mix and match and make things fair, or is that even important? Right. And that's, I think, a reasonable question. I mean, I sometimes think DeMauro tends to be a little bit mamby-pamby on some of this stuff. That's just my own opinion. But sometimes the little schools can be pretty damn tough.
Yeah, no, you have the exceptions, that's for sure. And I think Catholic schools on the girls' side are definitely dominant. I think on the boys' side, it's just been a different level, though, where you might have, it's like 8 to 12 Catholic schools in the state. 4 of them are playing for a state title any given year. Like that, Division I, putting most of them in Division I has helped on the boys' side, kind of give more public schools a chance. I remember my freshman year, Chris Dunn was on the team. We played Trinity Catholic and like the Northeast Catholic tournament, whatever it was. And there was like a luncheon before the game, and Trinity Catholic had a 6'7" kid who played Division I, a nice player, played on the perimeter. And he was from the Bronx, for example, commuting to Stamford every day. And the odds of, they also had a 7-footer who played at Providence and Syracuse, a guard who played at Iona, so they were stacked. We actually won the game, but the odds of all of those kids being from Stamford or even just in Connecticut are probably pretty low. And that can be tough to you have to have a special group of public school kids to compete against that consistently.
I understand that. I remember seeing London play, the boys that is, I don't remember who that was, but the team they played was in Bridgeport. The team they played had a 7-foot kid.
Oh, that's the game. That was Trinity Catholic, yep.
And London won that game, yeah.
Yeah, and then
played down at the Civic, the
Harbor Yards, yep. And then the next day we played St. Joe's. St. Joe's had a small guard who played Division II. They had a 6'7" big who played at Towson Division I, and a couple other 6'7", 6'8" kids on the team, plus another guard who was about 6'2", that was a nice player. They were a tough team. They ended up getting us in a close game, but and think about that. That's the Chris Dunn-led New London with other quality players like Malcolm Simmons, Keith Porter, Khalid Fields, Doug Hannon. It was a good team, but sometimes I appreciate what New Jersey and New York do, especially considering their Catholic schools are some of the best teams in the country sometimes. So it's imperative they actually have a Catholic school tournament, because it'd be a waste of time maybe to do it otherwise.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Have you or do you plan to in the future, assuming that you stick with the coaching? But I got a feeling you like this and you're going to stick with it at least for a while here. I don't see you falling out pretty quick. Getting at any of these clinics where you'll be learning from other coaches, where you're going someplace and they'll have a Jim Calhoun or a Hurley or the PC or whatever the schools are, that they've got a group of people and you're going to start to learn from the best, you might say.
Yeah, for sure. I think, for example, we brought my AAU team down to the Fairfield University team camp, and Fairfield University women have been playing at a very high level for the past few years, and how they play, I definitely want to learn a little bit.
They've been in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, they have. They're just playing well, and the way they play is why they have a great system and a phenomenal coaching staff, and I'd love to learn a little bit more from them. I know sometimes you can attend college practices and workouts and things of that nature. So I definitely want to do that, and we have so many schools in Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts that are easily accessible that it'd be almost foolish not to take advantage of that opportunity.
And as I noted a little earlier in the program, if for your players to have an opportunity to perhaps watch some of the local colleges play, I don't know if that's something that you would think has value, to take them down to watch Conn College, for instance, and
no doubt,
or Mitchell or Coast Guard. I mean, in each of those three schools has got a different culture.
Yeah,
and they are in different conferences. I mean, and they're playing at different levels in competition, and where these young ladies may see where they may fit in.
Absolutely, no, it's definitely something to take advantage of, even when the Avery Point women are playing a team like Massasoit Community College or CCRI. Like, those are good games, and it can showcase just all the different levels of basketball. I know last year as a team we went to a URI women's game. And we also they had some games at Mohegan Sun. We watched LSU play against Seton Hall, who has a girl from New London. She just transferred out, but she was at Seton Hall. And then we watched, right after that was UConn versus Iowa State. So we had some opportunities to see some college basketball as a team last year. It was a great bonding experience, great learning curve, and we'll definitely be doing that more in the future.
Yeah. So that's one thing with the young people, and I can't say that I blame them, because I mean you see the stars, the pros, and you aspire to that, but when you get to the next level, whether it's UConn women or Mitchell women, every player on the team more than likely was an all-conference captain, all-state. I mean, you're not getting the 12th player on the squad
right.
making UConn.
Right. No, absolutely. And I think that's one of the toughest adjustments for players going to the next level, is realizing, damn, there's a lot of players that are just as good as me, if not better. Now, how do I be effective at this level? Yeah, but it's like you said, there's great basketball around here. It's different levels. There's a lot of opportunity to learn, and like you said, the play styles at Con and Mitchell and Coast Guard are all almost dramatically different, and they're all equally fun to watch.
Yeah, I had somebody contact me just recently after the community center just had their, I'd call it soft opening, and I have not been in there yet, but I gather there's a hall where they've got a number of former New London players that they're highlighting, and somebody mentioned John Delagrange, and I said, well, you know, it appears to me that they're highlighting more younger people than John Delagrange, because he goes back to the 70s. But I mean, in terms of quality player, there's a guy who certainly could deserve to have his be recognized as a New London great.
For sure. I know my dad would be behind that 100%. And I mean, he was 2 times All-State, you know, played Division I. He should be in there. Yeah. There's people that should be in there. Rob Sanders should be in there. Alan Chaney should be in there. I don't know if they have Kareem Brown in there or not, but if he's not, he needs to be in there. Even Malcolm Simmons. Malcolm Simmons played at Central Connecticut. He should be in. I do like they had Chanel Johnson. She played at Hartford for soccer and was a good player there. So they've had some nice names, but there's some people that deserve some of that love too.
Yeah. Well, I hate to say it, but we're kind of like running out of time here. Look what we got here. You know, we've been having such a nice conversation. I haven't had a chance to do a couple of PSAs, but I'll save those for next week with the Kiwanis Golf Tournament and the Monday night cruise nights down at Ocean Beach. Some positive activity in New London. But CJ, I want to thank you, and we'll have you back. And now that I had a chance to get you in here, we can follow your team a little bit more closely.
There we go.
Okay.
Thank you for having me.
All righty. Coach Parker, thank you. We'll see you again next week on City Focus. Good night, folks.